Hey everybody, welcome to the Dungeoncast. I'm Brian.
And I'm William.
This is the podcast where we talk about everything tabletop role-playing games.
And today we are covering The Rod of 7 Parts.
1, 2, 3, 4. Shout out to
Welcome, adventurers, to the Dungeoncast.
Hey, Brian.
Hey Will,
How you doing today?
I'm a little sad.
Why? What happened?
My rod only has one part.
No! No, not the first line!
It's still the Orcus episode, Wand of Orcus episode. I'm not over it.
I guess I should have expected it.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm neutral about it. It's fine.
I enjoyed the Orcus episode, the Wand of Orcus episode, but let us leave that rod behind.
Yeah,
And move on to
let's talk about a new one.
this 7-parted rod.
A new interesting 7-parted rod. What makes this rod so special, Will?
Well, we are getting close to halfway through this year already, and we have only covered 3 artifacts up to this point. This is discounting the Legendary Swords episode, which technically had no official artifacts mentioned, though it was on brand for this year's theme.
Mm-hmm.
So it's time to start catching up on our artifact quota for the year, and I chose a great artifact for doing so.
Yes, please.
Yeah. For today's artifact is, in some ways, 7 artifacts in one.
Yeah, that makes sense considering that it's called that.
Yes, indeed. We are going to be talking about D&D's possibly most notable and famous artifact, which I guess leads me into the question, have you heard of this artifact before?
Yes, I've heard of the Rod of 7 Parts, although I'm not as familiar with what it does these days as I was, because I've listened to the Acquisitions Inc. stuff, and they deal with the Rod of 7 Parts, I'm pretty sure. At least
That
at
must
some
be
point.
kind of in their later stuff that I never really listened to.
Yeah, so it came up a couple times there.
Yeah, it's a very famous artifact. As a matter of fact, I believe it's the only artifact that has a literal novel written called after itself.
Like a Forgotten Realms novel?
No, this is actually a Greyhawk thing.
Ooh, okay.
Which, as Forgotten Realms is your kitchen sink campaign setting, so it's got it too.
Yeah, Greyhawk has all your dark, dirty stuff.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, you're not wrong there. So the Rod of 7 Parts is also known as the Rod of Law. Law and chaos is like the major theme of this artifact. With an immense amount of history and power, this artifact is more than a mere treasure. It is a promise for an entire campaign of adventure in and of itself, which is true. If you introduce this artifact in its canonical context, like, yeah, this is your whole adventure. Like, this is going to be your level 1 to level 15 or whatever.
Yes, all very findable stuff. I always like adventures like that where it's like, oh, at level 5, I found the first piece of the Rod of 7 Parts. And then it was so fucking hard, I had to be level 15 to get the last piece of it. It was like, doesn't make sense in some ways, but...
Well, we'll see if you feel that way after we
Okay.
talk about it. So the Rod of Law is a powerful artifact filled with concentrated essence of law itself. It was created by the Vati during the Dawn War. We'll get more into this in a bit. It was during this cosmological war that it became split into 7 separate parts, giving it the nickname of the Rod of 7 Parts.
Okay.
The rod is one of the very first artifacts detailed for the Dungeons & Dragons game, first appearing in the 1976 TSR publication Eldritch Wizardry. The artifact has been updated for Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd Edition, 3rd Edition, and 4th Edition. Sadly and strangely, it has not yet been detailed as of the recording of this episode for 5th Edition.
Yeah, I feel like they have a big board of stuff with all the notable shit they want to cover, and they just like cross everything off one at a time. I'm like, okay, well, how many major books do we have left? And like, if we have one that's sort of a sleeper, do we just shove the Rod of 7 Parts into it?
I mean, I think that they have the same problem that we have on this show. It was like there's just so much to cover, even when you're doing an episode week after week, you just can't get to it. I mean, dude, we're 7 years in, and we're doing the Rod of 7 Parts now.
Yeah, I know.
But I do hear what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, they might very well do that.
I mean, you could put as much shit as you want in
the
a
book. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Rod of 7 Parts very easily and should have probably been in the DMG in the treasure chapter.
Yeah, no, I think in order to maximize profit, you save the Rod of 7 Parts for like.
I mean, yeah, that might have been their point of view.
I mean, you could do a whole adventure module off of the rod.
You
it
could.
sounds like
Definitely.
Okay.
Maybe that's what they'll do.
All right.
We'll find out. So the rod, when whole, is 5 feet.
Oh shit! I scrolled ahead. Sorry. Or
rod
1.5 meters.
in length, with a tapered width that decreases from 2 inches.
That's 5.1 centimeters, folks.
across at the bottom to a 1/2 inch
Or 1 centimeter.
at the top.
Ooh.
Due to their
So
lawful
specific.
due to their lawful nature, the fragments do not appear damaged or haphazardly shattered, but instead display intricate patterns of crystalline facets on each breaking point. The length of the fragments are 4 inches.
That's 10 centimeters.
5 inches.
13 centimeters.
6 inches.
15 centimeters.
8
20
inches.
centimeters.
10 inches.
25 centimeters.
12 inches.
30 centimeters.
And 15 inches.
That's 38 centimeters, folks. There's a lot of measurements all back.
yeah.
back
I mean,
to
there's
back.
a lot of parts. There's a lot of schematics. It's a rod of law. Like, you have to have this all solidified.
Is it like how they have that section, how to destroy this magic item at the bottom of magic item stat pages, and they couldn't, so they broke it into 7 parts like Voldemort's soul?
No, we're gonna get into why it's in 7 parts. It's a pretty cool story.
Okay.
But we're not there yet. So
Not yet.
each of the 7 fragments have a command word or name which can be invoked to use its particular power. The 7 command words are as follows: Ruat,
Ruat.
Calum,
Calum.
Fiat,
Fiat.
Justitia.
Justitia.
I want to say that's
Ichi.
Ichi. Yeah, we'll go with Ichi.
Ichi.
Lex,
Lex.
and Rex.
Rex.
Lex and Rex.
Nice.
Which collectively make up a Latin phrase that translates into, you want to read this?
Though chaos reigns, let justice be done. Behold, law is king.
Yeah, there. Good job.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. As most artifacts are, this artifact is described as singular. Gary Gygax himself emphasized that only one exists. Each piece not only has its own unique powers, but the more parts of the rod a user possesses, the more powerful each one of the 7 parts becomes.
Okay.
But due to the instability of the rod, once it serves its purpose while in whole form, it inevitably splits into 7 parts and scatters across the cosmos again.
Ooh, neat.
It
Like
can
the
only be
Dragon
held
Balls.
together for, like the Dragon Ball. Yes, absolutely. Your wish has been granted. Okay, moving on. So let's exactly. So let's talk about the origins of the Rod of Law. So at the dawn of time, before the material plane as we are familiar with was fully formed, the forces of law warred with the forces of chaos for control over the cosmos. In this time, the abyss was not ruled by the Tanari demons that we're most familiar with, like, I don't know, your Meriliths and your Goristros and all that other stuff, but instead by the ancient and eldritch Oberonths.
Right. I remember them.
Yeah, we talked about that was a long time ago, but we had a whole episode kind of about them.
Year of the Fiend.
No, before that even.
Oh, yeah.
it was way
'cause
back.
We talked about Oberonths a lot in the Year of the Fiend, but we only have
did,
one
yeah.
Oberonths episode.
Mm-hmm. And the ruler of the Oberonths was an entity known simply as the Queen of Chaos. It is said that it was the Queen of Chaos herself who launched the first assault against the forces of law, which started this war to decide the fate of the still forming multiverse.
Okay, neat.
So the Queen of Chaos, though, was not alone, for though she was a being with the power and force of will to bring her fellow Oberonth demons to heal as allies, what she needed was an army. In order to secure the loyalty of the near unending masses of the lesser Tanari demons, the queen raised one of them to the rank of Prince of Demons and took him as her consort. Miska the Wolf Spider, an exceptionally powerful demon who took the form of a large armored spider with a 4-armed humanoid male torso. His humanoid head flanked on either side with the head of a snarling wolf.
Oh.
So this is the OG Prince of Demons. It is from Miska that I think Demogorgon gets his title.
Shout out to Demogorgon.
Shout out to Demogorgon. With this new power couple as leaders, the Oberonth and Tonari forces quickly won successive battles and gained the upper hand in the cosmic balance. In response to the multiverse's imminent destruction, one of the most ancient of its races, the Vati, also known as the Wind Dukes of Akka, created the Rod of Law as a weapon that could destroy the Prince of Demons.
It just feels like you're recapping soap operas to me whenever we do Demons and Devils episodes.
It's great.
It's so fucking awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
I don't like soap operas live. I like them recapped.
Absolutely.
Like much more interesting like this.
They really are. Now, who the Vati or Wind Dukes were is a bit unclear. Some sages believe them to be powerful denizens of the elemental plane of air, closely related to or even being Jinn, while others believe them to be angels of Bahamut, who is also known as Lord of the North Wind and has ties to the elemental plane of air.
Okay.
His palace likes to go there a lot.
It's true.
What is clear is the fact that they were dedicated both to law and good. Most lore says they were wiped out during the Dawn War, but the 5e DMG has this to say about Akka and its dukes.
May I?
You want to read the? Yeah, of course.
In the fabled Akka, a shining domain of silver spires and verdant gardens atop a fertile earth moat, The Wind Dukes of Akka maintain a vigilant watch against the depredations of elemental evil and the encroachment of the elemental chaos. They are served by Aarakocra and a little-known race called the Vati.
So, a bit contradictory, as all other editions have said that the Wind Dukes of Akka are also the Vati.
Oh.
So, it's a little messy there, and I'm not sure how that got through because it kind of flies in the face of everything before it, but whatever.
This is we're talking about the latest stuff.
Yeah, that's 5e that's the 5e DMG that you just read.
Accidental retcon.
I think it's an accidental retcon. I think it was maybe someone didn't understand the lore clearly, or maybe I'm misunderstanding something. Let me know in the comments if I'm off base, but I feel like this is a misunderstanding that kind of
Somebody knows.
Yeah, someone out there knows.
Someone out there has the very niche information.
And they'll let us know all about it. Well, not
keyboard,
as you're saying
your
it.
keyboard is melting with your rage.
Not rage.
I can smell the plastic burning
eagerness.
from here.
Eagerness to inform us, Brian.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
what Will said.
So regardless, as Miska's hordes continue to push back the forces of Law, the Vati finally confronted him on the volcanic fields of Pesh. It was there that the greatest of the remaining Wind Dukes impaled Miska with the Rod of Law. And as the absolute law of the rod mixed with the demon's chaotic blood, a massive planar rift opened, shattering the rod into 7 pieces. The Vati's champion in Miska's body vanished into the rift, while the 7 parts of the rod were scattered across the multiverse. The Wind Dukes were decimated, and the demons, with their leaders slain, succumbed to their own chaotic natures and were routed back to the abyss. Miska the Wolf Spider's essence ended up cocooned in a prison of pure law and trapped in the windswept depths of pandemonium.
Oh, gosh.
Which is a layer we've not talked about too much on this show. It'll get its own episode at some point. Mm-hmm. The Queen of Chaos persisted. She continues to persist. She crawled back to the layer of the abyss known as the Steaming Fen. To this day, she continues seeking ways to free Miska and restart the war between law and chaos.
Okay, so this portal opened up and broke the rod because they were trying to suck demons back into the abyss? Is that what I got? Or they routed the demons after?
They routed the demons after.
Okay.
So after this rift opens up, swallows the leader of the Vati and Miska the Wolf Spider, all hell breaks loose. And this is, if I'm drawing from memory now, but this is the catalyst for the Tonari taking over the Abyss as well.
Okay.
They go full rebellion. They fucking wipe out almost all the Oberynths. There's only a few major Oberynths left. There's what's her name? Pale Knight. I think that's one of the demon lords. Queen of Chaos.
The homie Dagon.
Homie Dagon. Love Dagon.
Fist bump to Dagon.
Fist bump to Dagon. And I'm sure there's others that I'm not. You remember who Pale Knight is, right? It's the one that Baphomet allows to live on his plane of existence. Like
Yeah.
She gives birth to monsters and he's into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I do.
Yeah.
I was like playing so much Hollow Knight. I was like, why does it sound like a Hollow Knight like NPC?
Yeah. So what I was saying though is like at this point the Tonari take over. Demogorgon rises like to power, claims
Shout
the
out to
title.
Demogorgon.
Shout out to Demogorgon. And let's take a short rest.
Okay. We've returned.
Indeed we have.
We're fucking back.
Indeed we are.
And there's 2 parts of this podcast. Plus, okay, actually, there's like 3 other people now. The podcast of 5 parts. You know who you are.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Oh, do we count your special guest Jake? It's been a while.
It's been a while, but he's still a part.
He was technically on the Dagon episode. He was one of our voice. He was one of our voice actors for the skit.
That's true. Also,
Yeah.
didn't he fill in for me not too long ago when I was sick?
Oh yeah, the
Yeah,
video where
yeah.
the windscreen is covering his face. That was
Yes,
funny.
yeah. See, so no, he's still a part. So
Yeah,
6
yeah,
parts.
yeah, okay.
Can we find a 7th? I mean, there's Freeland.
It's always Freeland.
Yeah.
And now Steve. People know who Steve is
That's
now.
true, Steve. So are we the podcast of 8 parts?
We're a podcast of 8 parts.
We're the podcast of many parts.
Yeah. I think there's 7 rods.
All right, moving on. All right, back to the rod of 7 parts.
Okay.
The breaking of...
No, wait, go to patreon.com/the
that.
Dungeoncast to check out more of what you just heard, you know? Dick
to hear
jokes.
more about our rods.
Yeah. you
I
can
hate this.
you can get episodes early ad free. You can get actual play podcast stuff. Please check out Super Quest Saga and FBATS, Flashbang and the Surgeon. It's currently airing. The Mr. Freeze episode is about to drop. It's our best one.
For sure.
Like,
definitely got to check it out.
In season 1 for sure. It's our best episode.
I've heard you talk about it many times.
Yeah,
so I'm looking forward to it.
It's good stuff. Okay, now back to
the rod.
Now back to the rod.
All right, so the idea here of the breaking of the rod seems to have been a planned thing from the rod's creation. It is stated that due to the rod's potency, it cannot be conventionally protected. Therefore, to keep it safe, the Wind Dukes designed the separate sections of the rod to scatter around the globe whenever its full powers were employed by striking Miska. And this tracks because, not only do the Vati stab to kill Miska, and this rift opens, and then the rods scatter, but then we find out that on the other side of the rift, deep in Pandemonium, Miska was cocooned in a thing of law, so he's trapped forever. So the whole thing seems to have been planned, and not just a tragic, shattering of a major artifact.
They did that shit on purpose.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So when found, it is said that each piece of the rod both leads and urges its bearer in the direction of the next section of the rod in sequence.
Okay.
So once the first section of the rod has fallen into the hands of the player characters, they are committed to a quest that will take them the length and breadth of their homeworld and eventually into the heart of the abyss.
So it's meant to scale.
It is.
Okay.
It is said that the fate of the multiverse is in the hands of the wielder of the Rod of Seven Parts, for it can still both slay Miska the Wolf Spider or set him free.
Okay. In like video game RPGs, when you have like 4 identical or like multiple identical units to recover, like different MacGuffins.
Yeah.
And like they're in sort of like identical places, but like the first one you went into, you're like level 3, like what I was saying earlier, like I was so weak earlier, but I was just as difficult to obtain this piece as it is this later piece.
Right.
I'm so much stronger down the road. Like, I know we got to make it interesting because it's a video game and like power creep and stuff, but like story wise, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think in this, it's kind of built into the story part of it, of like, it's designed this way, and the rod does it this way on purpose.
Yeah, with a D&D adventure in mind.
Yeah, with a D&D
and that scaling issue has been taken care of.
Exactly.
Like the first piece is going to be easier to get.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Each fragment of the rod shares a common set of powers in addition to having individual powers. Its shared powers are any non-lawful creature in possession of a fragment of the rod will begin to see its worldview shifting towards a lawful disposition.
Okay.
Any lawful creature holding a fragment of the rod can use it to locate the next larger segment. Restored to its complete form, the rod holds the power to kill Miska the Wolf Spider or release him from his prison. And though that's like all fragments have this power. The individual fragment powers are as follows. The 4-inch tip can cure light wounds 5 times a day. Again, this is by the way, this we talked about it. It's not statted out in 5e, so I'm pulling this. This is specifically from 2nd edition.
Okay.
The 5-inch segment can create the slow effect for 23 rounds.
Oh, wow.
The 6-inch segment can produce the haste spell once a day. The 8-inch segment can create gust of wind 5 times a day. The 10-inch segment can cast the spell True Seeing once a day. The 12-inch segment can cast Hold Monster once a day. And the 15-inch segment can cast Heal once a day.
Okay.
When joined together, the rod gains more powers. A new major power is gained for every segment that is joined. So 2 segments joined bestows Flight as a spell that can be cast at will.
Okay.
So you can just fly once you got 2 pieces.
Pretty sick.
3 segments gives the wielder resistance to magical damage. The rod can also be wielded as a +1 mace at this point.
Okay.
4 segments why did
It wouldn't be a good rod if you couldn't beat the shit out of
Achieve,
somebody with it, you know?
Yeah, of course not. Sorry. 4 segments achieve give the wielder control of the wind. Dang typo. Can cast control winds 2 times a day, and now the rod can be wielded as a +2 quarterstaff.
Nice.
5 segments grant the spell Shape Change once a day, and the rod is now a +3 quarterstaff. 6 segments allow the wielder to cast Walk Wind once a day. The rod is now a +4 quarterstaff. And 7 segments gives the wielder the power to cast Restoration once a day. The rod is a +5 quarterstaff and can now kill Miska the Wolf Spider.
Cool.
I love the idea of giving this rod to like the fighter, because now they're literally a fighter wizard. Like the amount of spells you get from this one thing, like each segment gives you a spell. That's 7 spells. every time you join a segment gives you a spell. That's 7 more spells. So 14 spells plus you're a fighter and you can fly. That's great.
That's pretty cool. Well, there's a little man in my brain, and he's like holding back like the neurons like as tight as he can from firing at like every single bullet point you had on here was like its own dick joke, and the guy's like getting electrocuted trying to hold on. He's like like Spider-Man holding the train back with all the buildings.
Yeah,
his
no, I
arms are
love
gonna
it.
rip
Yeah,
off.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let that little man's death not be in vain. So, it is said that fragments of the rod surface only in times of great need. Among the Aarakocra, questing for these fragments is commonly seen as an honorable calling worthy of esteem.
It's not a migration. It's just looking for the rod of 7 parts.
The rod of 7 parts. Yeah, absolutely. So that's basically it. You got any questions about the rod of 7 parts?
I like that there are details for what each one does. I think that's super important for this.
Yeah.
Really cool how versatile it seems to be.
Yeah.
Throughout, like gathering it is meaningful. Kind of like, by the third, so if you find like this third piece, like 4, 5, and 6 inch pieces, like you have haste. It's like a 3rd level spell. Right around, it's the 3rd piece, I would assume. And then 3 seconds gives a will of resistance to magical damage. I mean, that you're right in the right parts, right? You're right around level 5, and you should be doing this type of stuff. It's like, it seems designed well.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely so.
Maybe Wizards is like, or I guess we say WotC now. Maybe WotC's like, hey, if it ain't broke, like, don't fix it.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
because I think like
leaving money on the table.
They're leaving money on the table. Yeah, and I think a lot of people want this, and so like when it comes out, it'll probably sell.
That would be cool. For the D&D movie. I didn't see the regular D&D movie that came out yet. I plan to watch it eventually. But I had to see the Mario movie. It's like more important to me somehow.
For sure. Okay.
But fucking what was I gonna say?
You talking about the rod?
Oh,
of
like
7
maybe
parts.
the next movie can be like a rod of 7 parts. Like that's a good way to string along some movies.
I will say, I think based off the movie, I'll try and do this without any spoilers. It seems like they are leaning into the villain of Zastam.
Okay.
And Thay, the Red Wizards of Thay, because there's enough there for sure to set up a sequel that still has that going on as a villainy.
Yeah, maybe it's more of an Easter egg moment when somebody gets their fucking shit kicked in by the rod of 7 parts.
Yeah, maybe we get a Dungeons and Dragons MCU style where. There's a bunch of individual movies, but they're slowly gathering the Infinity Stones that are the seven pieces of the rod.
How long did it take Thanos to get Infinity Stones? It took him like a lot of movies, right?
Iron Man 1 came out in 2008. Infinity War and Endgame, I think, was 2018.
And in the first Iron Man, that's where Thanos gets a stone?
No.
Like an end credit scene or something?
No, it was Avengers. That would have been 2010.
Okay, so fucking like 10 years for this dude to get
10 years
to get the stones. Yeah, I mean, if Marvel can do it, maybe someone else can. I'm not sure. Like the mouse has the money to take L's on Avengers
they
movies.
do. I don't know if I'm not sure what studio did the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Now I think about it. Certainly not the mouse.
Is it DreamWorks?
No. It was Paramount. I think it was Paramount.
Paramount?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
Anyways.
I said, I haven't gone to see it yet.
Anyways, one of the things that I like about the rod is this constant marriage between this idea of law and the wind.
Yeah,
and
okay.
It's not something I see a lot. It does remind me very much of like a Zelda type thing, because I think Link is associated with the wind a lot throughout a lot of his different games, right?
Yeah.
And he always comes across as kind of a lawful avatar. A lawful courage, all that other stuff.
Yeah, he seems. In my experience playing Zelda games, I'm very chaotic.
Oh, okay, well,
chaotic good.
Yeah.
But that's as a I have the joystick, motherfucker.
Right. I'm talking from like a canonical standpoint.
Let me kill these bats from midair. Fap, fap, fap.
Yeah.
Hang glider.
Yeah, well, okay, that's one specific Zelda. There's all the Zeldas before, too, though.
Yeah, but I couldn't fire arrows out of the air in the other Zelda games.
No, you really couldn't. You really couldn't.
Although I did like being super proficient with the bows in all Zelda games. It's a lot of fun to just be a master of that shit.
Usually very rewarding.
Okay, is there a rod of 7 parts in outside of Dungeons and Dragons? Does Pathfinder have a rod
No.
of 7 parts
No,
equivalent?
they wouldn't be able to unless they completely renamed
It's
it.
like a copyright thing.
Yeah, it's a total copyright thing for this. This is a unique Wizards, or at the time TSR, created thing.
Okay, cool.
So it's unique to Dungeons and Dragons. It's only in Dungeons and Dragons, which isn't to say you can't use it in Pathfinder. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I
ain't
mean,
no one
like,
gonna come to your
just-
table and arrest you.
Just don't like tell wizards.
Just
'cause
don't email them. Yeah,
they'll
don't tweet
sick
at them.
their Hasbro dogs on you.
So I have a question here at the end, and if you were to use the Rod of 7 Parts in a campaign, how would you go about? Like, what would be your concept there?
I'm glad I scrolled down so I could think about it while we were bullshitting. So the first piece is important.
Yeah.
I would put it in plain sight. I would have it like being held by like a statue in town, just right out in the open.
Okay.
Are there rules aside from like where the last one has to be in the abyss or whatever?
No, not really. Not from what I read. I mean, there's the adventure module if you wanted to follow that, in which case they are in particular places canonically. Who gives a fuck about that? Like, this is your campaign. You put them where you want. For the reasons
I
you
mean,
want.
we're definitely going to the elemental plane of air before the abyss, and I'm gonna have like some kind of sick ass cool sky cage with one of the pieces in it that you have to like convince a dragon
that
to
would
help
be
you
cool.
fly up to.
Like, okay, so let's think about this. There's 4 elemental planes, right? Then there's the
Yes.
material plane, that's 5. And then Feywild and Shadowfell, there, 7. Maybe there's one piece of the rod in every single one of the main inner planes.
Nice.
So you-
Okay, that's
so-
actually not bad.
Yeah.
You have a planar campaign.
Yeah, planar
And then
campaign.
you learn plane shift, and it's like, very cool. Time to abuse this shit.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then by the time you get them all, you visited every inner plane, and now it's time to go to the abyss.
Yeah, that transitionally, that's hard. How long are your like story arcs per piece?
I don't know. I mean,
I'm gonna skip the first one. I'm gonna give my players the first one, and then we're basically
Yeah.
gonna have 6 adventures.
yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah, and I think that's fair because the first one would be found in the material plane, right?
Yeah, just like drugs. First one's free. This rod of 7 parts is fucking crack. Like,
Uh-huh.
here's one.
It's cracked and it's like crack. Gotcha. Okay. Is it longest time?
No.
Okay.
Wait. Is that it? Like, I like
That's
your.
all I got.
I like the planar ideas. I think. I think a material plane campaign is cool, and then you have to go get the last one. Like, okay, one could be, coveted by a dragon.
Right.
Or in a beholder lair. You could do it like that. You could set it up like monsters. Basically, you go into do a dungeon crawl. Like going in, if I were to take the planar approach, it would be more of like a dungeon crawl feel, I think. Still, maybe more a little bigger, I guess. I don't know. Like
Okay.
imagining what the elemental plane of air will look like when you get there. It's up to you.
Right.
I like the idea of putting them in major boss dungeons, like beholder, dragon, giant.
Yeah, your classic D&D kind of rogues gallery.
Pretty much that's gonna be it. And then
I think you could do like a cloud giant in the plane of air.
that sounds good.
Yeah, maybe the Ifrit in the plane of fire.
Oh, it'd be cool to use one of the neutral like gem dragons for one. They're like,
Yeah.
I have this. This is like a prize trophy.
Maybe in the
It's like,
plane of Earth.
I'm not gonna kill you, but why? I'm not gonna give this to you.
Yeah.
And like you have to entice them somehow and
Yeah.
go do something. Like you find this piece right up front, but you can't get it unless you appease this dragon somehow.
Right, right.
Well, I've
I like
always
that.
wanted to go here, but it's too dangerous. Oh, we'll go. Like, okay.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I think, and then move my way into demons. Right.
Right. Yeah,
As
I
all
think
campaigns should.
Yeah, it's all campaign shit. I think if you do this, kind of having that surface just high fantasy adventure going on, but then maybe tie in like an underpinning story of like your characters are beginning to see that there's actually a lot of abyssal like what's the word I'm looking for?
Incursions?
Incursion stuff going on, and like the reason the rod is activating is because right now this is a vulnerable time that the rod needs to be put together for.
Yeah, there's a rod. There's a rod in the center of your Jumanji board. And like won't get shit out until you beat Jumanji.
Yeah, sure.
It's the old joke of the Jumanji incursion, Will.
Yeah, no, I got that, but I was like, why is the rod in the center of the Jumanji? And then
Okay, it's in the green little smoky orb. And it's like, if you beat
that's the last
if you beat-
piece?
yeah, if you beat Jumanji, you get the
okay,
thing.
got you. I
It'll
like that.
shit out
Yeah, we could definitely
a rod.
We can definitely convert what would have been an abyssal exploration for the final piece into the Jumanji board game for sure.
I think Jumanji would be like, okay, if 4 of your pieces are in the material world and 3 of them are like demon adjacent or in the abyss, then that first one of those would be The first one
In
on the
the
ladder
Jumanji
would
board.
be the Jumanji board.
Yeah, I think that'd be
You gotta
fun.
beat Jumanji and kill a lion or whatever.
Yeah, except for you would demonize whatever it is. Like you would turn it into like a demon version of that.
Yeah, I mean,
Like a demon bred manticore instead of a lion.
I guess. I don't know. I always kind of pictured like, okay, the animals that come out of the Jumanji board don't look demonic, but they act demonic.
Yeah, and they are also bigger and deadlier than like the versions in our world.
Yeah, like
So,
those
I
big
mean,
old buggies.
You could play it straight
those
Jumanji
bugs
if you
are
wanted
killing
to.
people.
Oh yeah,
in the
straight up,
movie.
straight up, yes.
Yeah.
The first movie is so good.
Oh yeah.
And the other two, they're good in their own way, but they're so different. They might as well just be a completely different franchise.
Did you ever watch Zathura? We've had this conversation.
We have, and
Fuck.
I have, and I like it.
Let's have a long rest.
Let's do it.
Hey everybody, welcome to the long rest. Let's hope it's not as long as this rod of 7 parts business.
5 meters?
That's so many
No, it's not
rod.
5 meters. It's 1.5 meters. my bad.
1.5 meters. I want to tell you guys about Diversity Saves. It is a 501c3 nonprofit organization created by a collection of BIPOC and LGBTQ plus members of the ttrpg community who are committed to the promotion and uplifting of marginalized communities in the tabletop role-playing game industry through promotion, education, and distribution of grants to help fund new projects led by marginalized creators. I think it's a really awesome organization led by a bunch of really great people that Will and I know personally. Just go to diversitysaves.org and check out what they got. I recently donated to get like a bunch of fucking games for like $5. I gave them more than $5, but it's a wonderful cause, and like I said, it's led by some people that we care about a lot and trust.
Indeed.
So I want you guys to go check it out.
Do it.
And help them out. Help them out, baby. All right, so you can also go to patreon.com/Dungeoncast to support this show specifically, like I mentioned at the short rest. And please check out our other projects like Super Quest Saga and Flashbang and the Surgeon. I'm having a lot of fun talking to people about FBATs. It's been a long journey with that show, so it's nice to see people enjoying it. It's a superhero campaign. It's a small three-player unit with 2-player unit, and I'm the DM. It's based off Batman the Animated Series episodes. It's a comedy game. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, go listen to it. It's on the Super Quest Saga feed. We are diligently working on Unhallowed. We hit a hiccup, and we're working through it. So
Yes, but it's happening.
it's happening. Did we sort out the shirts thing?
We did sort out the shirt thing.
Okay,
Shirt
cool.
thing is sorted out.
Sorry about the shirt thing that happened on Patreon. We have like merch that Patreon makes for us with art we provide them. They fucked up one of the shirts. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
they
sure.
fucked up our item, so I made them fix it, and it's fixed, and now that should be being sent out to everybody. So
Cool. 2 shirts.
2 shirts.
Hell yeah.
Yep. One is bad, but it's wearable.
Yeah, it is. It will cover your body if you sized it correctly, which I'm sure Patreon has an option for that. I don't go through the Patreon processes because it's weird that they don't have that. Like they won't. They'll send me a shirt, but they won't like let me go through the Patreon process from the
Yeah, exactly.
and like that's weird to just like lose random money to Patreon by being a patron of myself, which is what would happen.
that is what would happen. By the way, as an aside, like I definitely want to kind of visit new options for our Patreon annual item than going through the Patreon thing, because I don't like the restrictions and I don't like that they messed up like they did.
Oh, okay. I got a guy.
You got a guy, so
I
maybe
got a
we'll
guy.
talk to that guy.
Yeah,
We'll
we would
find
just
out.
have to pull all those addresses and do it ourselves.
Yeah, it would be more tedious, but we might be able to pull off something better quality, which is kind of what I'm more interested in, because I'm not happy with the quality either that they produce.
Okay.
But anyways.
We'll set up some sort of if we go that route, we'll set up some sort of tracking.
Yeah.
Sorry, you guys don't need to hear our business talk.
Oh, my kimono.
Oh God. Okay, so do we have anything else? You can check out our social media. Check out our Discord. Discord is where
Discord's a big one. Go to Discord. That place is awesome. The community's great. We're in there all the time.
that's where we're talking about FBATs and
Yeah,
Super Quest Saga.
If you like D&D and want any part of a D&D community, that's the place to go. The Discord is in the description of every single episode that we make. Highly recommend you guys check it out.
Yeah. Oh, we also have a PO box. You can send shit there, and we'll like if it's a letter, I'll read it on the show. And then check out next episode. We're going to be reading some reviews. Actually, let me pull it up now.
Okay, let's do it now.
I'm gonna
Actually, no. Let's wait till next episode, because it'd be cool to do it at the front of the long rest, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. You're right. Okay, We're going to call it a game.
Let's call it a game. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
The Dungeoncast.